Hello and welcome to Fantasy Premier League, the D Unit's journey. If you're watching along on YouTube, please press that like button and give us a subscribe. I'm your host, the D Unit. You can find me at KMPDK14, and I've got my co-host here, Alan. And where can I find you, Alan?
Alan, ALAN_Hunsdale, HUNSDALE.
Now, I tell you what, Alan, that game week was a rough game week for wildcarding. Tell me about it.
Yeah, do you know what? It was rough. 42 points. Salah let me down. He only got 2 points, so 4 in total on the captaincy. So it was a red arrow for me. This week I was down 2 places, went down to 15th in the league, and that's a total of 232 points in total so far this season. So I am currently 5,215,565 in the world. It's a shocker.
You're exactly halfway through. Like, there's about 10,280,000 players. You're literally slap bang in the middle. So there's about half the amount of people are worse than you, and half of them are better.
And I'm right in the middle, stuck right in the middle of it. Yeah.
Now, it was probably the worst game week I've had as well. Look, I have to say, I've got 52 points. It really should have been, it actually was 48. I took a -4 points because obviously I made those 2 transfers. And like you, we discussed on the pod last week that Mo Salah was the logical option as captain. And it's safe to say that we stuffed that up because Erling Halaand scored 13 points and scored another 2 goals, and Mo Salah, well, he didn't. I watched that Liverpool Forest game, and I tell you what, the Liverpool players were not at the races.
No, it was a shocker, and you know, like on paper, you know, you would have said, like we said, it was a logical option, but look, that's football. These things happen, you know, and we move. We look to next week. But it was very disappointing from Liverpool. We said we thought they were fixture-proof, but obviously they're not fixture-proof, clearly.
Well, I'll tell you what, an interesting thing in this Liverpool game. Now, I remember having this conversation when we were discussing your team for the wild card last week with Diego Jota and Luis Diaz. Now, this is really funny. So, Diego Jota ran off the field when the subs were made. So the subs were made in like the start of the 59th minute. And this idiot runs off before the 60th minute. So he got 1 point. If he'd walked like Luis Diaz did off the field at the same point in the game, he would have got 3. Can you believe that?
No, I didn't even know that. So that's even more upsetting.
Yeah, it was
Don't run off the pitch.
Yeah, it was just a no good. That game was just disappointing. I mean, the funny thing is that Nottingham Forest, and I want to talk about them a little bit later on, but their defence this year has really surprised me.
Yeah, it's been great. I think, you know, defensively, I think they're 3rd in the league. You know, they've only conceded 2 goals, I think. So yeah, they're looking great at the back.
Yeah, I mean, just fantastic. Now, the transfers I made, I took the -4 to bring in Ollie Watkins, and it has to be said that trade almost paid itself off, I reckon, because he came in and got a brace. And for you, we discussed this, but you traded him out. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, you know, disappointed, regret it. I think him and Smith Rowe were in my team. If I'd left them in, that would have been 20 points. You know, I bring in Haaland. I've done all my wild card to bring in Haaland, and he gets 13 points. So I probably would have been better off just sticking with what I had. But, you know, that's FPL hindsight's a great thing. Hopefully, over the next few weeks, because it's not just about that. It's not just about game week 4. It's going to be about the next coming game week. So hopefully, small wins will help me climb up the league and out of that 5 million bracket I'm in at the moment.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now, looking at the league, so where are we overall? So I'm still sitting on top, which is hard to believe considering that, I did underperform. I allowed the people in second, third, and fourth to gain on me. So shout out to Bob. It was his birthday on the weekend, and he made the most ground on me. He's now into second spot. And Tom, who we talked about the week before, he's now into third, a very sneaky third spot. So in very good touching distance there. If we look at the bottom, now I just want to have a look at this bloke. This Speed Racers bloke, Grace Patrick, who's propping up as position number 25. Now, when we go to the head-to-head leagues, he's somehow got a score of minus 24. I think that potentially he's 40's played his wild card and he forgot to press the button. That's what that looks like to me. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I've seen that. It was like a minus 24 points. So definitely didn't press the button. And also Dara had a great week, 76 points. And he went up 6 places.
He did. He actually took a -8. He actually made 2 extra transfers because when you look at the head-to-head league, he got 68, which means that he actually made a few transfers. And I actually think that this was a week where you could get away with the -4 if you're making the extra transfer because the scores across the board weren't the best, and taking a -4 actually turned out to be a pretty good play, I think, in the whole.
I think on the whole, yeah, I think, it probably wasn't the week to wildcard, but it would have been the week to do that tinker for that -4 if you were going to be bringing in, like, say, Watkins and Smith Rowe and even Raya, who come away with 9 points. So.
Yeah, I tell you what, that Arsenal defence, they really are fixture-proof. I mean, I highly doubted that they were going to not concede. And, this underlying stats in that game where they should have conceded, but they just didn't. And then Gabriel, and shout out to Darren, who had Gabriel sitting on his bench. And as we can see here, he actually got, bar the bloke that forgot to press his wildcard button, Darren actually got the lowest score of the round with a measly 25 points. Now, that's what happened, folks, if you don't pick Halaand in your team. That's what happens. Yeah. You get 25 points.
Yeah, it was a shocker. But I think next week, with Haaland, I think with that Arsenal defence you're talking about, I think they're going to, he'll probably get some returns, but he's definitely not going to be getting 2 or 3 goals. So, really, you don't want to be bringing him in for next week. You want to be waiting for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Now, it's not too late to join our league. So if you want to get involved to join our league, the code is LDV6F. So we encourage everyone to join. Look, you're going to be a bit of a latecomer, but that's never going to stop you. If you're really good, you could probably reel it in. Now, for those people that are like Alan, who are sitting at current rank of 5 million, whatever it is, now, don't stress because you can easily make these points up and it only takes one massive week to get it right and you're back in the mix. So don't stress. But my overall rank at the moment is the top 238,229 teams. So I'm going all right, considering I haven't played any of my chips, and the majority of the teams at the top, I was checking this last week, the bloke at the top last week, in his first 4 weeks, had played his free hit, his wild card, and his triple captain. So I can tell you what, he ain't going to be at the top for long.
Yeah, I mean, that is interesting way to do things. Is he a real person, or do you think he's just like he's got multiple teams? He's just doing it for max points. Who knows? But that's a pretty wild way to play the game.
Yeah, I tell you what, I reckon he's probably winning the prize for the monthly manager. I don't know if you can do that playing all your chips, but if you can, he's won it. So you could say it's probably been worth the hassle. Now, on to our 2 best performers of the week. Mine were obviously Ollie Watkins on his debut for my side. And I'm going to shout out to Ahmad because I said that Ahmad was going to deliver, and he was desperately unlucky to not get any more points than his 6 with his just 1 assist. He's created 6 big chances in this game against Southampton, and all he needed was a little bit more clinical finishing from his teammates, and he could have had a massive haul. And what a bargain at 5 mil.
Yeah. Sorry, my cat has just jumped on the back of my chair. Yeah, he. I mean, it was a great shout from you. I think that you're right with the people you said top performers. I mean, for me, obviously it was Haaland, bringing him in, got me 13 points. And Raya was a great shout, 9 points in goal. So, look, I'm happy with both of those players coming in. I think that they'll be consistent returns. So let's see.
Now, your two biggest concerns. Now, when I was looking at your team, and I did say this last week, I said the Nicholas Jackson move could be brilliant or it could be a little average. Is that one of your two main areas of concern this week?
Do you know what? I don't think he is. I think that he's, Jackson has got some good minutes. Chelsea don't have a striker at the moment. So, I think that I think he could be a good differential. Not a lot of people are thinking about him, but I reckon he could be a good differential, and I have faith that he's going to get me some points.
No, that's very fair. That's very fair indeed. For me,
concerning. Oh, go on.
Yeah, no, you go.
The concerning ones for me is obviously João Pedro. With his injury, I really hope he plays because he's got some good fixtures coming up, and I think if he doesn't play, he'll get returned. And Jota for me is like, I think I need to look at him. I need to change that midfield up. So I've got an idea about what I'm going to do, which I'll run by in a bit. But those two for me are my concerns in my team at the moment.
Nah, 100%. And look, Jota falls into the category of one of my two biggest concerns. Now, I don't like the fact that he keeps on getting subbed. And him and Luis Diaz keep on getting subbed. And to be honest with you, the Cody Gakpo and Darwin Núñez, when they came on, did absolutely nothing in that game. I actually think they made the team worse. And I think Slot probably needs to look at the momentum of that team, because when he's been making these subs, the subs actually haven't really done much when they've come on. And I just don't think that's the way to go. But he is definitely a concern for me. The other one for me is Pedro Porro. Now, look, Tottenham just can't seem to keep a clean sheet. And if they're not keeping a clean sheet, he hasn't been getting the attacking returns because Tottenham have been so wasteful in front of goal as well. So it's like, do I keep persisting with him? That's 5.5 mil. I've got 0.9 in the bank. I could easily upgrade him to an Arsenal defender, especially after this week against Man City. And I feel like that's probably better bang for my buck. But those are definitely my two biggest areas of concern moving forward.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any advice for those managers out there like yourself that played the wild card last week and it didn't go the best? What would you say to them?
I just think you just got to stick. I mean, most people wildcarded would have brought in Haaland, and or they would have brought in Salah if they didn't have Salah. Obviously, Salah didn't have a great week, but that's not to say that he won't have better weeks coming. He's proven in FPL. I think they've got a great fixture next week. I mean, I'm definitely going to be captaining him next week. Maybe famous last words, but I think the fixture is obviously better than Haaland. I mean, he's got Arsenal, right? So he's going to get man-marked. We've seen in the Champions League, he did do a lot. The team that he's playing are probably the best defence in Europe, but they kept him under wraps, and I think Arsenal will do the same. They've got a great defence. Yeah,
no, I'd agree. We'll get on to that. So we had the return of European football this week, and it was interesting to note. So Liverpool did some rotation. So Luis Diaz didn't even actually start that game. Cody Gakpo started. Jota played again, was subbed. Andy Robertson, interestingly enough, didn't start this game either. Tomiskas started the game at left back, which I thought was interesting because I thought that they would have started Robertson. So that raised some concerns for me if I was a Robertson owner. And then Ollie Watkins was subbed on 60 minutes in Aston Villa's game, but I suppose they were 3-0 up in their game. So it's made sense that, and Emery came out after the game and said, we're taking him off to manage his minutes. Now, one team that doesn't seem to like rotation is Manchester United. Now, In the League
I know
Cup.
what you're going to say. You're going to say the big G, man.
Yeah. The League Cup, I tell you what, they had this, they won 7-0 and they started Garnacho, Rashford, and Eriksen, and they all got 2 goals. And then Bruno Fernandes came on for the last 20 minutes, whatever it was, got 2 assists in that time.
But they were playing Barnsley, you know. Let's not get too excited here. It is Barnsley, you know.
It is Barnsley. Well, I saw all the memes. So when it shows up as Man United versus Barnsley, it came up with versus BAR. You tell your kids, we just spanked Barcelona 7-0.
Yeah, you wish.
Yeah, I know. I wish. Now, look, I want to highlight the United fixture run. Now, not many people are talking about Manchester United players, but I've cottoned on, and I actually think this is a good space for you to go. Now, I've just pulled up their fixture run for the next, from now through to game week 14 when they've got Arsenal. Now, they've got one difficult game, and that's Villa away. Now, Man United actually don't go too bad at Villa. That's a very happy hunting ground. Even last season, they beat Villa at their ground. And I think it was a high-scoring game from memory. So, look, we've got Crystal Palace away this week. Then we've got Spurs at home, Villa away. And then 5 of the next 6 fixtures are rated green and easy. So, I actually think that this is a team to target. Now, not many people are talking about them because you never know what you're going to get with United. But I think there's goals in this team.
Do I really want to get into Man United? I think they're just. It surprises me that Garnacho's not starting. I mean, you know, how's he not starting? I think, there's probably Man United players are probably the differentials. You know, there's probably players there that you can bring in that are not actually that expensive, that have been overlooked, and you know could get you some good returns. Like you say, there's a good fixture on, and it's for those fixtures. But I just think they're so inconsistent, aren't they? They're inconsistent. It's a risk.
I mean, in this game alone at Southampton, and we're going to quickly run through all the fixtures just to see how we went with our predictions last week. But in that Southampton game, Southampton could have been 1-0 up, and then it might have been a very different game. But somehow, it's unlucky for Archer owners because that was one of the worst penalties I've seen taken in a while. Andre Onana didn't have to do much to save it, and then he literally just gave him a free rebound back. It was actually quite funny to watch. But it was really good. If you bought in Andre Onana, which a lot of people did in their wild card, you were laughing because you got a lot of points out of that transaction.
Yeah. I mean, Southampton have been disappointed. They don't look strong at all, do they? I mean, it was just a rubbish penalty. I mean, they threw it away. Yeah,
so look, I think you called it 3-0, but I went for the 1-1 draw, but that was, I mean, it could have been anything, but that penalty definitely changed it. Now, the key things to note here, Bruno Fernandes and Dalot and Ahmad all got assists in this game, and Garnacho and Rashford both scored, so all their attacking players getting some sort of points now. Now, the boring game of the round, which I was hoping for, was Brighton against Ipswich, which ended 0-0, and there was yellow cards galore.
Shocker. Just an absolute shocker. I mean, look, shout out to Ipswich. I think they've done all right, didn't they? I mean, you know, they're looking okay. Everyone thinks they're going to be the easy fixture, and they're not. Brighton were disappointing. When Brighton's on their day, they can be scoring lots of goals, and they've got lots of players that can be scoring those goals. So, it was a shame. And I think maybe Pedro not playing, did that have an effect? What do you think?
Yeah, well, after international breaks, they're always hard games to read. So I think if your team does well, you got to be counting your lucky stars. In terms of Brighton, it was just unlucky. Unfortunate for the Pedro owners. He was one of the biggest transfers in last week, and well, he wasn't even in the squad. So that was very disappointing for his owners, and for you in particular. When you were versing me last week, you really needed him to play, and he just let you down.
Yeah, he let me down. And it was, we had our head-to-head and you won. But hopefully in our team's head-to-head this week, Palace will come out on top. What do you think about that?
Well,
maybe a Mateta penalty. Or an Eze one, we don't know. It could be 50-50 as who's going to take it.
So obviously, Jamie Vardy was doing Jamie Vardy things as you predicted in the Leicester versus Crystal Palace game. Leicester actually went up 2-0, and then Mateta brought one back, and then there was a penalty. And for all the Eze owners out there, and me in particular, I was worried because obviously I was versing you in the head-to-head, and I didn't have Eze, and I was like, oh dear, here we go. He's going to get some points. And the fact that he didn't take the penalty and Mateta took it must be concerning for Eze owners, Alan.
Yeah, look, I think it reduces the chance now that you're going to get a penalty. It's definitely a 50-50. Before he was on penalties, and I think you could see the other day in the game that Mateta had the ball and he didn't want to give it up, and Eze was sort of rationalising with him why he should take it, and he weren't going to give it up. So I think that will probably cost owners 2 to 3 goals over the season. But look, Mateta scored in the 92nd minute, a lot of pressure. He scored the penalty in the Olympics for France. So I can't see him changing. I think the penalty, yeah. But, I can't see that changing now that he scored it. And it's just going to be one of those 50-50 chances.
Yep, and now obviously the next game, Fulham versus West Ham. Now, I was gutted in this game because I had Robinson in my team and he had a clean sheet. Sadly, I wish they'd just subbed him off because West Ham equalised in this game in the 95th minute. I was like, are you kidding me? He lost me that clean sheet. The 4 points came off, and that could have cost me dearly. Thankfully, it didn't in our head-to-head, but I wasn't happy. I was not happy. The other interesting thing to note here, Smith Rowe got an assist, but Muniz, who was very popular option at 6.1 million, he actually was relegated to the bench, and his replacement, Raul Jimenez, scored, which is not looking good for Muniz owners. I think you did well to get rid of him.
Yeah, and look, I think we talked about it, and we said he's going to be a risk if Raul starts getting minutes, and he will get minutes now. He's capitalised on the chances, which Muniz wasn't. He was getting the chance. He just wasn't putting it in the back of the net. So I think he's probably toast now. And I think the value will go down and people will swap him out. But it's good to see Smith Rowe getting some returns. I think he's a great pick. I think he's a good player. It's a shame that he got the points after I took him out of my team, but he's cheap, and we know what he can do. He was great for Arsenal a couple of seasons ago when he was playing. So he's definitely one to be watching and having your team potentially.
100%. Now, the shock result of the round, Liverpool losing 1-0 at home to Forest. It wasn't a good day for Liverpool owners. Just watching that game, that goal also came stupidly late in that game for Nottingham Forest. So Robertson and Alexander-Arnold, who we both had, cancelled each other out, and they also both got a yellow card for good measure. What an absolute shocker for Liverpool assets.
Yeah, what a shocker. I know we're going to talk about the challenge game as well, but it was an absolute shock, and you wouldn't have called it. I think a lot of people, were going triple Liverpool. I don't think anyone called Forest to win, and it was a shocker. But good on Forest, and if you're a Dara, who had the defender at the back, nice. You just got 9 points. Oh, 9 points. I think 8 points.
Yeah. I mean, look, Aina, who is a very cheap option, he got 2 bonus points, and he got 8 for the game. He's only 4.4 million. I don't know how he's dropped in price, but he looks like a really good asset considering Nottingham Forest are keeping clean sheets, and he's also getting bonus points. That's a win-win right there.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not even like they're easy fixtures. I mean, Liverpool's not an easy fixture. So, yeah, I think he's somebody that you could bring in. And, now you're looking at Liverpool, you've got a question mark. You've got somebody like Trent. Trent's great, but, you've got an expensive defender and you want to free up some cash because you want to upgrade your midfield. Well, he's a good option. Yeah,
and look, on Trent Alexander-Arnold, everyone bought him in for the attacking returns. He's yet to get an attacking return yet, which is unbelievable. He got it in the Champions League, so I think it's just a matter of time. But it's very highly frustrating for me because he's put in so many good deliveries. He's just had no success with his teammates getting on the end of him.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's a lot of money. There's a lot of money, and you can't have that in your team if they're not getting you the points back. So
that's it. Now, on to the next game. Erling Haaland, he was actually really unhappy with the fact he didn't get a third hat-trick in the row. And he had enough shots on target, and Flecker made 5 saves in this game.
yeah.
It could have been anything. And I mean, there's a couple of things to talk about in this game. Now, Wissa, who was looking like a great option, and you called him scoring a goal, and he duly did. Unfortunately, he got injured, and he's going to be out for the next couple of months, so he's no longer an option. And the other thing to note in here is Edison, the goalkeeper for Man City, got an assist. And here's a really interesting stat for you, just for some bonus trivia. He's actually now got more assists as the goalkeeper than Anthony does for Manchester United since he signed. Can you believe that, Alan?
Oh, that's really, really cheered me up, that has. Yeah, I mean, it's wild. I mean, it's just absolutely wild. I mean, going back to the Haaland thing, he comes so close to getting a hat-trick. I mean, I think, Flecken was great, made loads of saves. Did Haaland hit the bar, or was it Flecken who saved it? Because there was a chance towards the end that was so close.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure. I'm not going to lie. I just saw the goals in this game because it was like one of the goal rush games, and it wasn't the main game. It was Liverpool versus Forest was the main game. So I just saw the goals, and I was just like,
he definitely got close. He definitely come very close to getting a hat trick again. And look, he's an absolute machine. He's a great asset. He's Haaland, so he's playing amazing.
He did. He did. Now, on to a really interesting game, and I couldn't believe this because this is late kickoff. Aston Villa at home to Everton. Now, you've got to love Everton. If you're an Everton hater, you must be enjoying this season. This is back-to-back games. They've gone 2 goals up to only concede 3 and lose the game.
I mean, the 2 consistent things is Haaland's going to score and Everton are going to go 2-0 up and lose the game. I mean, it's just incredible. That I was watching the interview with Daesh afterwards, and it's just embarrassing. I mean, it's just embarrassing that they've done it again. Surely it can't happen next week. Maybe it's worthwhile sticking a score on it, going to the bookies and sticking a score. It happens, you might make yourself a load of money.
I agree. Now, I do want to talk about a number of things in this game. Now, Dwight McNeil, not many people probably have considered him in their teams. Now, he's only £5.4 million as a very cheap budget midfield option. He got a goal and assist in this game. And Everton's run of fixtures, just going to pull it up now for everyone looking on at home. We're just going to pull up Everton, and we're going to pull up Dwight McNeil, 5.4. He's got 22 points, so he's got very good amount of points. And Everton's fixtures, look at that. From game week 5 through to game week 14, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fixtures. 8 of them are green. Surely this is a bloke that we should be considering. Yeah,
I mean, I think he's one of those that's gone under the radar. I was looking at him, but I just thought, Everton have been so poor, I didn't want to take the risk. But look, I think, yeah, he's been a great shot, and the stats don't lie. So, it could be a good differential to bring him.
Now, the other one, and who also scored in this game, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now, he's also scoring really well. He's obviously got the same run of fixtures. The only thing I've got about him this week is he's got currently yellow. So apparently he's got a 75% chance of playing because of illness. So
yeah,
you got to take that with a pinch of salt. You wait for the manager's press conference, but you'd expect him to start. And I'm telling you what, at 5.9 million, how have these guys dropped in price when they're scoring so many points? It makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's on penalties. I think he's got good fixtures, but can you? That's the question. He's risky. I don't think you can trust him. You'd have to be brave. He's the definition of a differential. He
is. Now, Aston Villa, Ollie Watkins, as I said before, got a brace on debut in my team. He got a brace against Alan as he removed him from his team, which was probably always on the cards. That was a swing there of 26 points.
Look, Watkins is one of them players that I've seen. He'll have a great week, score 2 goals, and then he won't do anything for a couple of weeks. It's just so hard. He's just not consistent. He's not Haaland, is he? So, I doubt very much. These could be, again, famous last words, that he'll do anything next week, but wait and see.
That's it. Now, another really interesting note here, Luca Dean, he is a 4.6 million option in defence for Aston Villa. He's actually created the most chances from a defender so far this fantasy Premier League season, so he could be worth a look in the Villa defence moving forward. Now, onto the Chelsea-Bournemouth game. I tell you what, Alan, I do not know what's going on with that team. That Chelsea team, I just look at who scored the goal and who got the assist, and I'm like, what? How?
Yeah. I mean, I mean, he needed a goal. It was sort of waiting. Everyone thought it was going to happen a lot earlier on in the season. Then he goes out and pulls it out of the bag. But look, I don't know what that team's doing, to be honest. Palmer's the only one that's consistent. So. I mean, I think everyone else is a bit of a risk.
But I tell you what, Cole Palmer, though, his underlying stats this year are nothing like last year. So last year he had a lot more shots, a lot more freedom under Pochettino. This year he doesn't seem to have the same amount of freedom under Maresca. And at 10.6 million, I don't think you can justify having him at the moment. That one game against Wolves seems to be an aberration at the moment, not the norm. And I want to note here that if Allinson, I don't know how you say his name, from Bournemouth, how Bournemouth didn't actually win this game is beyond me, because Sanchez in goal made 7 saves for Chelsea. Yeah. It's a miracle they won. It's actually a miracle they won. I said it was going to be a 1-0 against them. It should have been, but it wasn't. Yeah. And then Sanchez Arsenal Spurs. Gabriel with the goal, Saka with the assist, Spurs don't score. You've seen this before.
Yeah. I did say they'd win, though, didn't I? I did say Arsenal would beat them.
Yep, you did. And Raya got five saves. So that indicates that, Tottenham had their chances. They just couldn't score. Dominic Solanke was back, and I'm telling you, the longer he goes without a goal, the more it's going to look like an expensive flop. I'm telling you, Bournemouth was his level. He shouldn't have left.
Fair enough. I think you're probably right with that one.
And then you called it, Newcastle win. I thought Wolves were going to win this. And they were 1-0 up. And I was like, I've called it beautifully. And then Harvey Barnes did Harvey Barnes things and scored an absolute worldie. And he's also a really good option. He's dropped in price. He's 6.4 million. And he wouldn't be a bad shout now that he seems to have reclaimed his starting spot on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I really like Barnes. I think he's great. He's a great player. He's solid. And I think, like you say, at the price, with the game. Blurred vision. He got hit in the head with a ball.
He did. I've never seen that. Is that going off a blurred vision because of a head hit? I mean, I did well. I got rid of Isaac for Ollie Watkins, and that was a 12-point difference in that one trade alone. So I was pretty happy with that. And Isaac owners will be sweating on his fitness ahead of the weekend, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be back. I mean, he's gone down in price. I think a lot of people have taken him out. I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to take him out. I don't think they'll run the risk.
Now, interestingly enough, I took the -4 last week, but I tell you what, it worked out well. So Isaac dropped in price after I'd sold him in one of these trades, and Kulusevski, who was the other bloke that I traded out, also dropped in price after I sold him. So I dodged a couple of bullets, and Ollie Watkins is probably going to go up in price after his performance on the weekend.
Yeah, I think people seeing that will bring him in. I personally don't think that's a good move. Like I said, I think he's hit and miss up and down. So, but yeah, I think he definitely will go up in price.
Yep, no, that's it. Now, I just want to bring your attention to Erling Halaand. Now, this is just a shout out to Darren. Really? Because this idiot keeps on taking him on week after week. Now, for everyone that isn't a Haaland owner and has not been enjoying this goodness, and Alan has finally jumped on board, so he is now enjoying the goodness as well. I'm just going to bring up how many points he's scored so far this year. So he's scored 54 points in 4 weeks. So if you're dumb enough that you don't have him, and look, let's look at the stats. He's now owned by 69.6% of the competition. So if you're in the 30.4% of the competition that's dumb enough not to have him, all I have to say is swallow your pride and get the beast in.
But this is not the week to do it, though. It's not the week to do it. I mean, not against Arsenal. You want to wait. I think if you were going to bring him in, you should have brought him in earlier. And look, a lot of the teams that didn't have him, they were captaining Salah. They had Salah, so they were captaining him. So it sort of offset the points, and they still got good points. It's only mugs like me that had Salah and didn't captain him that really fell down the ranks. And then obviously last week was the week that hit them because, they had Salah. The fixture looked like the best fixture to captain him. They captained him and he ended up getting them 4 points. And Haaland goes and gets 13. So I don't think if you don't own Haaland this week is not the week to bring him in weight. Against Arsenal, I don't think he's going to do a lot. He'll probably get a return, but he's definitely not going to be getting 2-3 goals.
Yeah, well, that could be famous last words from us because I tell you what, last week when we were sitting here going, surely Mo Salah's the captain choice this week. And, well, he should have been, but he actually wasn't. And Haaland was the superior choice. And I suppose that's a good segue now. Now, I'm looking at my team for this week, and I'll just show you the team I'm going to be picking. And, look, Haaland's not my captain. So I'm going to pick my team here. This is what I currently have. I'm going with a 3-5-2. I'm leaving Wood again on the bench this week. I was a toss-up between him and Ahmad, but I just have a sneaky suspicion that after the 7 goals slaughtering in of the Barcelona of Barnsley during midweek, there could be some goals this weekend, and I'm hoping Ahmad is back amongst them. So I'm backing him in over Wood. And I'm going with 3-5-2, but I'm again going with Mo Salah as captain. And I did think long and hard about captaining Ollie Watkins instead because he's got the home fixture with Wolves and he's looking like he could be informed. But I just think Mo Salah, the safety of it, and I'm not taking on the Arsenal fixture. The Arsenal defence, if Erling Haaland scores a hat-trick against them and makes me eat my words, I'll wear it.
Yeah, I think if Haaland scores a hat-trick against Arsenal, then you just have to captain him every week. That's it. I mean, we spoke about the Arsenal defence is great. I mean, and if they can't keep him under control, then he needs to be captained every week because they're the team to do it. I mean, I'm going with you, Salah. He's going to be my captain this week. I'm sort of torn whether I keep Raya in goal against City or whether I go Flecken. But my feeling is we'll get some goals. I think Son could get a couple of goals. So I think I'll stick with Raya. I'm going to take out my Palace. I'm going to put them on the bench. So I'm going to go Konza, Duncan, Robertson in defence. And I'm going to keep Jota, Rodgers, Salah and Minter in midfield. And then hopefully Pedro plays because I'm going to leave him in against Forest. I'm going to leave Jackson in and Haaland. And if João Pedro doesn't play, then Eze will be the first sub. So that's what I'm going for this week.
Nah,
I was thinking about doing the sub, but I think I'm going to roll it because I am going to look at my midfield probably next week, and I think I'll make some changes, try and get a more premium midfielder in.
Well, yeah, that leads me to myself. I was going to make a trade, and I'm not at this point. I'm rolling. I'm going to save the transfer because next week my plan is to probably get rid of a couple of Liverpool players. So Trent Alexander-Arnold and Diego Jota in the firing line for me next week. So I really want to be able to bring in David Raya in goal because, I mean, he seems fixture-proof. He just keeps scoring points. And Henderson has done absolutely nothing for me in goal. And I just look at like all these other teams that are actually gaining on me. They've normally got a goalkeeper that's scoring points, and I've just got no one. So, look, as I look at the Arsenal fixtures here coming up, they've got Leicester at home, Southampton at home, Bournemouth away the next 3 game weeks. I think you really need to get the Arsenal assets in. And I actually think that next week is a potential week where if I was thinking of wildcarding, that would be the point, or I would be saving. If I don't do it next week, I'm probably holding it till after the next international break. And I might even try and hold it for as late as game week 14 moving forward. When would you think, if you hadn't had to correct the problem of not having Haaland, where you would have liked to have played your wild card?
Look, I think that the wild card should have been played week 3, 4. I did it week 4. And I think that the next time to do it will be week 6 or 7. And that will be to bring in the Man City and Arsenal players. If you've got triple Liverpool in defence, which most people do, and we know now that they're not fixture proof, and they did, concede against Forest. They're just too expensive. So you can't have 3 Liverpool defence when you want to bring in, Arsenal and City. So that would be when you want to be doing the wild card next 6 or 7.
Yeah, no, fair point. Now, I just want to take us over to the FPL Challenge. Now, I'm sure that you, like me, Alan, didn't go very well in the clean sheet one last week, because I had 4 Liverpool players in my team and Emilio Martinez from Aston Villa, and those games were not good games for defenders. I didn't get one clean sheet, and I think I ended up with like 7 points, and Trent Alexander-Arnold was my captain and doubled the 2.
I'm the same as you. I went with loads of Liverpool. They didn't return, so it was a bit of a flop for me in terms of the challenge. And I think, to be honest, it'd be most people. I mean, when you're doing that clean sheet against Forest, I mean, you'd be out of your mind not to do Liverpool with the information you had last week. So, yeah, disappointing.
Yeah. So this week it's an All Americas Challenge. So this is the team I've gone with. I've actually gone with Liverpool players again, believe it or not. And I'm backing them in to keep a clean sheet this week. So I've actually made Alisson Becker my captain. So I don't know if it's going to go well, but I'm hoping it does. I've got Martinez in defence, and I've gone in a 1-2-1 formation. I've gone Luis Diaz in midfield and Garnacho. As I'm telling you, United are coming for Palace this weekend. A bit like I came for you last weekend. And I've gone with João Pedro at the moment up front. I think that's a pretty safe squad. I don't know how it's going to go. I've really been not very good at FPL Challenge. It's been more of an afterthought at this point, but that's what I'm going with this week.
Fair enough. Yeah, go on.
No, you go.
I was just going to say with what I was doing with FPL Challenge. I mean, I think I went with, I'm just going to bring it up. I went with, in defence, here we go. So I went with Becca in goal, again, Liverpool. Estepunian, is that how you pronounce it?
I know what you're talking about, yeah. Brighton player.
Yeah, he was great. I mean, I think he can get some attacking returns. I went with Diaz and Darwin, and then, João Pedro up front. So, let's see.
We'll have to wait and see. Now, on to the fixtures for this weekend. We're going to go through them really quickly. West Ham, Chelsea. I think West Ham might do them here. I think that could be 1-0, 2-1 at home to West Ham.
Nah, Chelsea win against West Ham.
Right, fair.
Chelsea win against West Ham, and I need a Jackson goal.
Okay. Aston Villa against Wolves. I'm hoping for another Ollie Watkins brace here. And surely, what's his name? Morgan Rogers can hopefully get some sort of return in this game, because I'm sick of waiting for him to do something.
Yeah, he looks great, but again, just no return. So, I'm going to go Villa win. I'd love to see Rogers get a goal and assist, and Watkins to get nada. Do a classic.
Fair. Fulham against Newcastle, that could be interesting. I mean, Fulham, just a shout out to them, they lost a penalty shootout 16-15 to Preston in the Carabao Cup midweek. It just kept on going, this penalty shootout. So hopefully they'll be wanting to respond from that. So I think Newcastle could be in for a tough afternoon. I think that could be 2-1 to Fulham.
I'm going to go the opposite way. I think Newcastle are going to win against Fulham. I think they're getting the win against Fulham. I don't think they'll be.
Fair. Leicester against Everton. This could be anything. Jamie Vardy could score a hat-trick. Dominic Calvert-Lewin could score a double. Who knows? I'm going with a draw.
2, I reckon. Everton score 2. Calvert-Lewin gets both of them. And then Vardy scores 2, and it ends up being a 2-2 draw. Actually, no. Do you know what? I reckon Leicester win. I reckon Vardy gets 2 and someone else scores and they beat them. That's really what I want. A 3-2.
I reckon Foes in the 97th minute for Leicester wins 3-2.
Yes.
Liverpool at home to Bournemouth. Surely Liverpool bounce back here and get some, and the attacking players get some returns. Surely.
Yeah, I think so. I think Salah will do well, and I think that Liverpool will get the win against Bournemouth. I can't see them losing. I really can't.
Now, if you really want to bet on a 0-0 game this weekend, folks, it's Southampton against Ipswich. That has 0-0 written all over it.
Yeah, it does. I completely agree. 0-0. 0-0. It's definitely going to be a draw. Definitely.
And then we got Spurs against Brentford. I think Spurs will probably win that. Probably. I don't know if they'll keep a clean sheet, but I think they'll win.
Tottenham win against Brentford. Yeah, I think they're missing Wissa, aren't they? They haven't got Tony. I mean, they've got, so Spurs win.
Palace against United. I can see Manchester United winning this 3-0.
Behave yourself. Listen, obviously I'm going to say Palace win. As a goal, free kick, Mateta penalty, a 2-1. A 2-1. And do you know what? If Man United play Garnacho, I reckon he'll get a goal.
I reckon he'll get a goal off the bench. I reckon Ahmad gets a goal from the start. And that's a 3-0. Brighton against Nottingham Forest. This game also reeks of a 0-0 for me, but I think Brighton will edge it just.
No, Brighton win. Brighton win against Forest. I think it won't be big. I don't think it'll be lots of goals because of the Forest defence, but I think they'll get one.
And last game of the round, Man City against Arsenal. It could be 0-0 like it was last year, but the stats say that Halaand is going to score. It's just a matter of how many. But Arsenal's defence are really good, and if they play anything like Inter, it could be a stalemate. But I am going to edge this one 1-0 to City.
Yeah, same. Agree. 1-0 to City. Haaland goal.
Yep. All right, that brings us to the end. What are you doing this weekend, Alan?
What am I doing this weekend? I'm playing golf. On Saturday morning, so that'll be nice. And apart from that, just chilling, just relaxing. I've got a lot on, which is nice. Makes a change. What about you?
I'm on school holidays starting tomorrow afternoon. I cannot wait. Yeah. All right, guys, that's all from us. Make sure you tune in next week to see how we all went. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're listening on audio, you know what to do. Catch you next time. See you later.
See you later, guys.